Diana Frances Spencer was born on July 1, 1961, at Park House, Sandringham, Norfolk, England. She was the third daughter of John Spencer, Viscount Althorpe, and Frances Ruth Burke Roche, who both came from aristocratic families closely connected to the British royal family. Diana's family had served the royals for generations, and her grandmothers had even worked as ladies-in-waiting for the Queen Mother. From the very beginning, her life was intertwined with royalty, even though no one could have imagined that she would one day become the most beloved and tragic princess of modern times. Her early childhood was marked by privilege but also by emotional pain. Diana grew up in a grand country estate surrounded by luxury, but her parents' marriage was deeply unhappy. Her mother, Frances, left her father when Diana was only 6 years old, after a bitter and public divorce battle. The separation had a lasting impact on her. Diana and her siblings were caught between their parents' disputes, and Diana later described her childhood as emotionally unstable and lonely. She always longed for love and security, feelings that would later shape her as a deeply empathetic and compassionate person. As a child, Diana was cheerful, kind, and full of imagination. She loved dancing, swimming, and playing with animals. She attended Riddlesworth Hall and later West Heath School, where she was known for her caring nature rather than academic success. Though she was shy and sometimes insecure, she had a gentle charm that made her well-liked among her peers. After finishing school, she briefly attended a Swiss finishing school called Institut Alpenvidimanet, but she soon returned to London, where she shared a flat with friends and worked as a nanny, housekeeper, and later as a kindergarten assistant. These early jobs showed her down-to-earth personality. Despite being from a noble family, Diana lived modestly and enjoyed simple pleasures like cooking and spending time with children. Her life took a dramatic turn in 1977 when she met Prince Charles, the heir to the British throne. At the time, Charles was dating her older sister, Lady Sarah Spencer. Their paths crossed several times at royal events, and in 1980, Charles began to take an interest in Diana herself. The royal family saw her as a suitable match. She was young, beautiful, well-mannered, and came from a respected family. After a brief courtship, Charles proposed to Diana in February 1981. She accepted, saying later that she felt like she was stepping into a dream. However, she soon realized that royal life was far more complicated than she imagined. Their wedding on July 29, 1981, at St. Paul's Cathedral was watched by over 750 million people worldwide. The ceremony was grand, filled with glittering jewels, magnificent gowns, and centuries of tradition. Diana, only 20 years old, looked radiant in her ivory silk wedding dress with a 25-foot-long train, and the world celebrated what seemed like a fairy tale come true. But behind the smiles and the glamour, cracks were already forming. Charles was still emotionally attached to Camilla Parker Bowles, his former lover, and Diana began to sense that their relationship was not built on genuine affection. As the Princess of Wales, Diana was suddenly thrust into the global spotlight. She became one of the most photographed women in the world, her every move documented by the press. At first, she struggled with the attention, feeling overwhelmed and isolated within the strict boundaries of royal life. The constant scrutiny, combined with her emotional insecurity, led her to develop bulimia, a struggle she bravely admitted years later in public interviews. Despite her personal pain, Diana's natural compassion and warmth soon captured the world's heart. Unlike many royals before her, she connected with ordinary people on a deeply human level. She visited hospitals, shook hands with patients suffering from HIV/AIDS when most people were afraid to, and comforted children suffering from cancer and poverty. She became the voice of the voiceless, the people's princess, admired for her empathy and courage to show genuine emotion in a world that often valued cold formality. Her style and grace also made her an international fashion icon. Whatever she wore, from glamorous evening gowns to casual jeans, set trends across the globe. Yet, she was never only about glamour. She used her fame to raise awareness about critical issues like landmines, homelessness, and mental health. She was particularly passionate about the campaign to ban landmines, and her famous walk through a minefield in Angola in 1997 became one of the most iconic humanitarian moments in modern history. Behind her public image, her marriage to Charles continued to deteriorate. The emotional distance between them grew wider, and both engaged in extramarital affairs. The media frenzy around their troubled relationship was relentless, and every personal detail became a public spectacle. In 1992, Prime Minister John Major announced their official separation, and in 1996, their divorce was finalized. Though Diana lost the title, Her Royal Highness, she remained the Princess of Wales and kept her place in the hearts of millions. After her divorce, Diana dedicated herself even more passionately to humanitarian work. She became a global ambassador for compassion and change, often visiting war zones, orphanages, and hospitals. Her life became a symbol of resilience, a woman who had endured betrayal, depression, and loneliness, yet emerged as a figure of strength and kindness. She also focused on raising her two sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, ensuring they grew up with love, empathy, and awareness of the world beyond royal privilege. She would take them to charity visits, theme parks, and even homeless shelters, wanting them to understand real life. In the summer of 1997, Diana's personal life again became a subject of media obsession when she began a relationship with Dodi Al Fayed, the son of Egyptian billionaire Mohammed Al Fayed. The couple's romance was heavily covered by paparazzi, and they were constantly followed by photographers wherever they went. On August 31, 1997, Diana and Dodi were in Paris when tragedy struck. Their car crashed in the Pont de l'Alma tunnel while trying to escape the pursuing paparazzi. Dodi and the driver died instantly, while Diana was critically injured and taken to the hospital, where she passed away a few hours later at the age of 36. The news stunned the world. Millions of people wept openly, and tributes poured in from every corner of the globe. Her death exposed the darker side of fame, the endless pressure and invasion of privacy that had haunted her life. Her funeral on September 6, 1997, was a moment of collective mourning unlike anything seen before. The sight of her young sons, William and Harry, walking behind her coffin touched the world deeply. Elton John's song, Candle in the Wind, rewritten in her memory, became a tribute to her short but luminous life. Even decades after her death, Diana's legacy remains powerful. She changed how the royal family interacts with the public and redefined what it means to be royal. Not distant and formal, but compassionate and human. Her sons have carried forward her legacy through their charitable work and by speaking openly about mental health and humanitarian issues. Diana's influence continues to inspire millions, reminding the world that true greatness lies not in status or wealth, but in kindness, empathy, and love. Diana's life was a story of a young girl who became a princess, a woman who became a global icon, and a human being who reminded the world that compassion is the greatest form of strength. Though her time on Earth was brief, her impact will never fade. She remains, forever, the people's princess.